Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and I'm doing a Star Wars Episode 7 review. This has spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. But if you have seen it, let's talk about it. Alright, and also, you should come back after you've seen the movie to watch this video. So there is spoilers here, just a big warning. Alright, so this review is about the number 4 most important character in the Star Wars 7 movie, in the Star Wars 7 Force Awakens film. In order, they are Kylo Ren, General Organa, Chewbacca, and the fourth most important character in the Star Wars Episode 7 movies is Finn. Do you remember Finn's number?
FN 2187.
That's right, exactly right. So how do we get introduced to Finn? Do you remember?
Yeah, he's a stormtrooper.
Exactly. And what is he the first stormtrooper to ever do?
Take off his helmet. We get to see his face. Also, he's the first one to ever show any sort of morality.
That's exactly right. He actually defied the Empire, and that's a huge twist.
First
right?
Order.
Yeah, the First Order. That's exactly. Well, you're exactly right. It used to be the Empire. Now it's the First Order. First Order is an extension of the Empire. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just like the Resistance is now an extension of the Rebellion.
Yes.
But I really like that the First Order has that new name,
mm-hmm.
Because we can say First Order, and that means, the Empire from Episode 7 mm-hmm. forward, and Resistance means the Rebellion from Episode 7 forward. So it's really useful, because if you were to say the Rebellion, it wouldn't be clear before. So I think that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I have a ton of things to say about Finn, but I want to give you a chance to talk first. Any other things you're thinking about with Finn? Any other things you think are really interesting about Finn? Or actually, what was your opinion of Finn in the movie?
I honestly thought he was a great character. Like, in the movie, it was sort of funny, like, how he did lie quite a few times, like, about being in the Resistance and about wanting to save Poe, like, as just out of goodwill, but then he was just like, I just need a pilot. But then by the end, he was in a major fight with Kylo Ren and helped Rey in all sorts of situations. So I definitely liked him as a character.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even realize what you just. One of the things I think is great about the Star Wars films is you actually saw a lot of things that I didn't see. You're seeing it from a different perspective. So I didn't even think that Poe was saying, "Oh, you need a pilot," right? And that's one of the reasons why you're saving me. I hadn't even thought about that. It's actually one point against something I'm about to say about Finn, but I still think it's true. But he really is a unique character. I thought he did a great. He was a really, really great character. So here is my take on Finn. I think Finn is fantastic. I really thought he was a really special character, and so here's what I have to say about Finn. So I actually think that Finn is very distinctly the bravest, most selfless, and wisest character in Star Wars Episode 7. He is a really unique character, and so one of the things that's really interesting about Finn is he really struggles throughout the film. He has major struggles throughout the film. In the very beginning, he fails to be able to do what he was trained all that time to do, which was to attack that village and do everything he needed to do to be the stormtrooper that Kylo Ren trained him to be, or to be the type of stormtrooper he was trained to be and then given to Kylo Ren. Because it's my opinion that only the best stormtroopers were given to Kylo Ren. But here's why he's the bravest, why he's the most selfless, and why he's the wisest.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that including Luke and Leia?
Yeah, absolutely. And so here's my reasons, right? And I invite your input. He's the bravest. He is completely, just full out. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get my goals done, right? So there's 50 stormtroopers surrounding him in the first scene. They're all firing. They're all told to fire. He says, hey, I'm not going to fire. I'm going to stand here. I'm not going to fire my weapon. I'm going to be the one stormtrooper who defies Kylo Ren and defies the First Order. That took a huge amount of bravery. Then when he, and then throughout the film, later on in the film where Rey needs to be saved, he's the one who says, who actually goes into the meeting with all the Republic, all the Resistance generals, and says, "I know how to take down that shield," and does everything necessary to get himself on the planet, which is a Star Killer base, which is, according to the Resistance, supposed to be blown up. So he can be killed by the First Order. He can be killed by the Resistance. Goes there without hesitation. He's extremely brave. Extremely brave.
Yeah. I honestly would disagree with you on the bravest part, because back when he was a stormtrooper, he was not openly defiant. Like, if I'm remembering it right, I think he like held up his gun but didn't quite shoot. So he wasn't like, "No, Kylo Ren." He was sort of just opting out, which is very different, but not as stubbornly brave as you suggested. And later, he actually, if you remember, he didn't want to resist the First Order. Like, back in the cantina, he was like, "We can't win this fight."
That's
he
a
wanted
great,
to
yeah.
run.
That's actually a great point. So that's actually, that's one reason why I really think he is extremely brave. Is bravery is when you do something when you're really afraid and you push through that fear and you do it. So he had more to fear than anybody else in the movie. That's another thing. Poe Dameron, he's just a straight up Mac. Like, he's like the new Han Solo, right? He's got, and he is, everybody tells him, "You are the best pilot in the Resistance." He knows he's skilled. He knows he's powerful. He's a powerful soldier. He knows he's capable, right? Rey, good grief, she's just radiating competence at everything. She's radiating competence at mechanics. She's radiating competence at piloting. She's radiating competence in combat, with her quarterstaff. These two are, now, to me, this is the new trilogy. These are the new three. You had Han, Leia, and Luke. Now you have Finn, Rey, and Poe, right? And Poe and Rey are crazy capable. Finn is not capable. He was conscripted, and he does all these things. He never hesitates to do what needs to be done, even when he knows his capability are very, very low, right? Much lower than the people that are surrounding him. And he's saying, "I'm going to do this even if I get hurt. I'm going to do this if I get captured. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fly right in the face of consequence." And that's why I think he's brave.
Okay. Now, I agree that he is brave. He did many things in the movie that he was needed for. But what you were saying is that he does it without hesitation. He almost always hesitates. Like, when that big scene when they were fighting all the stormtroopers, he was like, "What do? I don't have a weapon." But he needed encouragement. And I think that's a good point where all the other characters came in. They made him a great character.
He does do these things with hesitation. That is a great point. That is a great point. He does. You're absolutely right that he does do these things with hesitation. I still feel that's bravery. When you're pushing through your fear, I think he's by far the bravest character in the new movies. And by the way, Finn is absolutely, without a doubt, my favorite of the new trio of Rey, Poe, and Dameron. Of Rey, Poe, and Finn. Finn is by far my favorite. And let's be clear, I love every single character in this film. I am completely over the moon over this film. I feel like I'm 7 years old again. The movie was just wonderful on every level. But even with that said, Finn is my favorite of the new three. Let's get into selflessness, right? He's the most selfless of all three of all the characters in the whole film. Finn is by far the most selfless. There is a scene in the movie that just was so powerful to me, and this is why I love this film. I feel that this film is so deep and so layered that we're going to be talking about it for 100 years. You know what I mean? And I really feel it is just as good a film as Star Wars, the first Star Wars, which is recognized by many to be one of the top 100 films of all time, and I feel like this is an equal film. And it's incredibly layered. And this next scene is part of this. This is why it is a classic. This is why, in my opinion, they should be talking Oscars for this film. You're on Jakku. Ray and Finn they get into a battle, and Finn is knocked down when they're being chased. When Ray and Finn are being chased, and Finn is knocked down, and there's a scene where Ray comes over to help Finn up, and Finn has been knocked senseless. He's on his butt, and Ray goes to pick him up, and she's just picking him up, and as Ray picks him up, he kind of like shakes himself out of it, and he goes, "Oh, are you okay?" Right? And Finn stops, and she gives him a look like this. Like, what are you doing? You don't even know if you're okay, and you're already asking me if I'm okay. And so, go ahead.
Sorry, if I may. Now, I do agree with you that he is very selfless, but I thought it was really obvious in this film that he was crushing so hard on Ray. and all of these, like, heroic scenes of selflessness are for Ray.
That's Finn, Mac, and Ray, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay. I'm seeing where you're going with this. All right. Here's the issue. Let's address the Finn Ray romance. Okay, there is no romance there. I totally agree with you that Finn loves Ray. That is not going in the other direction. Finn is 100% in the friend zone, and he is never going to be with Ray because Ray has zero interest in him. Tell me one thing that Ray does to exhibit any interest in Finn.
That like hug when he saves her?
Friend hug!
Okay,
Friend hug!
Okay, I realized that in this movie they were very friendly. However, I feel like it was obviously building towards romance.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it. Okay.
And when she kisses him, when he's like unconscious. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. All right. So I just wanted your face was over there. Okay. So all right. So get this. All right. So you go to Starkiller Base to save Ray. You're Finn, right? You are cut down with a lightsaber by Kylo Ren. You have to be transported off the planet unconscious by Chewbacca in the Millennium Falcon. You are in a coma, all right? You have literally sacrificed what could be your life for Rey. Where do you get your kiss? On the lips? A quick peck on the lips? No, you get a forehead kiss. He is 100% in the friend zone. All right, but all the things I just said, selfless. Finn goes to Starkiller Base
to save Rey. But name one other act of selflessness toward any other character.
Oh, I'll tell you 50 characters. Selflessness to every single villager in the beginning of the movie who he doesn't kill with his blaster.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he risked his own life to do that. Because, I mean, Kylo Ren's there. I mean, Kylo didn't kill him, but it was clear that Kylo was thinking about killing him, and afterwards he was like, "Oh, I totally should have killed that guy." So I really feel that Finn is extremely selfless. The other thing is, so Finn very selfless, and I think there's a lot of other examples of Finn being selfless in the film. I have a lot of thoughts in my head. I can't think of a few right now, but I think there's a lot of other examples where Finn displays selflessness, right? And I think it's more than just his romance. You know, he definitely likes her, but he considers her as a friend, and I think he was very selfless. And he starts the film with an act of courage that is above almost any other character, saying, "I'm going to break and go with an entire other, core, an entire other faction. The resistance over the." And that's hugely selfless. Go ahead.
That is true, but I noticed in the movie that what we saw from Finn may have been like his only act of selflessness in the First Order, because he takes off his helmet and he gets a scolding, but then later when he disappears, he's like, one of his supervisors was like, he didn't have any other acts of nonconformity. Before then, he was just a stormtrooper.
Oh, wow. That's pretty deep. That's a great point. Oh! But also, that is a really good point you make. I think another area where he was selfless was when they took Captain Phasma. He was just delighted that he was in control. He didn't really want to hurt her. and there was like no,
Yeah,
there was
that's
no,
true.
you know, he suppressed his anger, and again because he's so selfless, he doesn't. He's been hurt, so he doesn't want to hurt people, and I feel like that's, you know, suppressing your anger is very selfless. And you know, and they said, well, where are we going to put her? And he said, oh, how about a trash compactor? He said, yeah, you know that yeah, absolutely. So I thought that was now. Here's the last one. So I say that Finn is the bravest, he's the most selfless, and he's the wisest of all the characters in Star Wars Episode 7. Right? I think he's really the heart of this entire new trilogy. Finn is the heart of it. Right? A lot of people aren't going to get this for a while. I think you're going to have to see it in the movies. But Finn is really the heart. And the reason why is he is the character who struggles the most. And people connect with struggle. Right? All right. So, wise. Why do I say that Finn is wise? Here's why. I think there was an incredibly important scene and there was an incredibly important line. And I think you, like every single sentence in this movie has freight, right? Like it needs to be unpacked, right? And I'm just so thrilled with this film and what a great job J.J. Abrams did and what a great job George Lucas did setting it up. And it's just really exciting. So here's why he's wise. You are on Starkiller Base. There's a lot of snow, okay? You're outside. Han, Chewie, and Finn are on the outside of Starkiller Base. There's just all this snow around. This is right after Han Solo brings in the Millennium Falcon and like crash lands it onto a mountain, right? And there's this line where where Han goes, "Oh, you're cold, Chewie." This is where it's at. So yeah, exactly. So Han says to Finn, "Hey, how are we going to shut down these? How are we going to shut down the shields, right?" And he says. Oh, I don't know. I was in sanitation, right? And Han gets really angry. He's like, the whole galaxy is depending on us, right? Which I thought was really funny because Han Solo is always faking it, and here he's dealing with a guy who's faking it. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really kind of funny. But then there's this really important thing that's said, and so Finn's like, we're gonna wing it. You know, we're here. I just came here to save Rey. We need to get Rey. And Han Solo, to his credit, he's right on board. He says, "Yeah, we'll definitely save Rey. We won't leave without her, right?" But then Finn says, "We'll use the Force," right? And Han Solo says, "That's not how the Force works." Exactly, and that is how the Force works. Finn understands what Yoda was saying all along. That the Force is in all of us, and it connects all of us. And I think they were successful on Starkiller Base, and that they shut down Starkiller Base because of the bravery, the selflessness, and the wisdom of Finn. He was the driving force for success on Starkiller Base. And his presence there, his belief that he could impact the Force without any Jedi powers, just through his own goodness and his own bravery, his own selflessness, his own wisdom, right? That he was saying, I will exhibit the light side in and of myself without even being a Force user. And I think that this is a huge concept that is going to spread across other characters as we go forward. And Mats, the pirate lady, kind of showed this too. She was like, I'm not a Force, I'm not a Jedi, but I know the Force. And so we're already seeing that this is how the Force works. When you go somewhere and you're willing to give of yourself and you're willing to do whatever it takes and you're willing to be hurt even to the point of death, which Finn showed many times that he was willing to put the well-being of others over the well-being of himself, actually impacted the Force, shaped the Force around him, and shaped the events that were happening right there. It's a huge concept, and I think that's why I think Finn is the wisest character in the entire movie of Star Wars Episode 7, Force Awakens. Hit me.
And is that including Mats?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's a pirate. Are you kidding? And her bar gets blown up.
That's true, but I considered her like the new Yoda. She was there to give advice and was like, and was like always focused on people's eyes. I thought that she was very wise. Now Finn was very smart, like because he was a stormtrooper, like he knew where everything was. He knew how to like get everything down. But you're also right that like his selflessness played into that. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Mats is not wise, right? Here's why. Han Solo walks into your bar. If you're wise, you're like, get out, Han Solo. And sure enough, 30 minutes after Han Solo shows up, you got Kylo Ren, you got the Resistance, you have a massive battle, you have X-Wings, your entire bar is blown up, your lightsaber that you keep in the basement is taken. Like, Mats is not wise. Plus, she thinks of Chewie as a boyfriend. Mats is not wise. So Finn, he is a great character, fantastic character. John Boyega nailed this this portrayal of this character. He's a great actor. I think he could not have done a better job with all of the acting. Finn is the heart. Finn is the new driving engine from the new main three characters. Poe, Finn, Rey. Finn is the best of them by far, and he is the heart of this new trilogy. Finn is a fantastic character, and he is the bravest, most selfless, and wisest of all the people in Star Wars Episode 7, Force Awakens.
Now, may I say one more thing on Finn?
Of course.
Far less serious than what you were saying. But I thought Finn was one of the funniest characters in Star Wars. Because it was a very serious movie. Like, Han died. Like, a lot of things happened with that. But it was very funny. There were a lot of laugh lines that, like, the entire audience laughed. Like, from, like, droid please. And, like, yeah, this is what people from the Resistance look like.
Yeah, that's a great point. He had a lot of very funny lines. I think he added a very nice level of humor to the film. I think it was nice that the humor was there, but I think there's an undertow on Finn where if you're not paying attention, you might think that more of his lines are funny than wise. But in fact, even that one where he says, "We'll use the Force," and Han Solo says, "That's not how the Force works." There was a level of laughter that came across the entire theater, right? That is a deadly serious line, and I think it is actually it is reverberating a new concept of the Force that is massive in the entire trilogy, and it's a big deal.
Sorry, and I can see that too because even from the original trilogy, I'm sort of Force, but Han Solo was always a skeptic when it came to the Force.
Yeah.
So I could, and he was the one that's like, that's not how the Force works.
But
so
the reality is, Han was always wrong about the Force, and he even says it in the film. He's like, I was wrong. It was all real. And so here, even as he was talking to Finn, he was wrong again. But Finn is a really special character. Thank you very much for talking about Finn with me, and thank you guys out there for watching.